Hello, welcome back. I'm Jeff Byers. This is Andy258, and this is Module 12. And I'm going to take you through prepping your Unreal scene. First thing you need to do is make sure you have a new project. So you can go to File, New Project. We want to make sure you do a first-person shooter. And make sure that you rename your level something like Mayan Game Level. So with that said, first thing you need to do is make sure you have a top view. It could be a rough drawing before you even get started. And then you're going to turn that into a nice finished orthographic colored with color key and a number key. Okay, you'll be adding both of those. So with this level, it is the max level. You can go from 800 feet by 800 feet minimum, and then maximum is 1500 by 1500. This is the maximum. I would recommend against the 1500 by 1500. That is just huge, and you've got to fill it with grass. And so make sure that you think about the scale of your scene, and try to manage that the best you can. With this example, I'm going to go with the max 1500 by 1500 just to kind of give you an idea how large this is. Okay, so with that said, we'll go back to our level, and what are we going to do? We're not worried about terrain right now. We're going to have a flat playing surface, and I'm going to have you build on that flat playing surface. And you can raise or lower your buildings after you get the prototype done first. Let's just get the prototype done first before we start adding terrain, and that's going to be in module 13. So how do we do that? Well, we're going into geometry, and you can see I got rid of all this other stuff that was in here, so I just got rid of that by deleting it. I don't want to delete anything that's important, and these are the things that are important, so make sure that if you get started and you have the first person example map set up, you're going to have cubes in here and all that kind of stuff. You can get rid of all that stuff. In fact, I want you to, but you have to leave this stuff that's in here that you can see. Okay, that all needs to be in there. Okay, so you may want to unlock it, or excuse me, lock it, or turn off the eyes, and then all you have to do is get rid of the other geo that's in there. So we're going to drag and drop that, and it's very simple. What I did was calculate 1500 feet times 30.48 centimeters equals 1 foot, and so I came up with 45,720. That's just huge. So 45,720. Okay, that's going to be your X, and then your Y is going to be 45,720. Okay, and then your X or your Z doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do 16. I'm going to do 30.48. That's 1 foot. 30.48. And so it'll be 1 foot thick. Again, that doesn't really matter, but if you zoom out, you can see just how ginormous this is. Okay, I'm going to probably want to speed that up. There we go. So you can just see how big this area is. Just huge. And I'm okay with that, but it's just, that's, you have to kind of go in there and look at it and see how long that's actually going to take to play. From one corner to the next. Make sure you run across it. Make sure you know what you're doing. You can see this is just a huge area. Okay, right. Also want to make sure that it is placed in a manner that you're not going to be above your character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that down just below my character. Okay. You can make that decision how far you want to go down. Okay, so just go ahead and place it, and so you're able to actually play the character. There we go. So now you can go into your character and you can play your scene and go from one corner to the next. You can see how just ginormous this is. Okay, it's just huge. 1,500 feet is a lot longer than you think. I'm not going to go through that, but that's kind of gives you an idea. Okay, and then from there, if that's what your map needs, then that's what your map needs. So if you go in here and you look at it and you go, well, that's what I need, then just understand that's a huge area. Okay. Now, if you don't want an area, you decide that you want to change that size, you can easily do that, and change the scale of that anytime you want by just changing that. Now, 800 feet by 800 feet is this. So this one is 45, and we can do 24,384 is what I calculated for 800 feet. And so I'm going to do the same thing. So that's about almost half. And there we go. So now you can see that might be more manageable for you depending on the scale of your scene and what you want to do. So you have between 800 feet up to 1,500 feet to play with. You can't go any smaller than this. Okay. So go ahead and plan accordingly. But this is how you set it up, and what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and start creating your scenes by just moving this around, and you can hit the N key to plop it down and hit the F key to focus on it, and you can start building your building. Now you're going to need to have when you're building your BSPs and you're building scales, you'll have to go back and forth again to your scale that you have here for your buildings. Okay, and this scale is 25 feet per grid unit, so you know that this building is just huge. That temple is huge. Okay, alright, okay, so this is why we do scale. We use a grid, and you can use the grid I have down here, okay, and set that up, and I've got those setup instructions here, and draw and scale accordingly. Understand that if you go 1,500 by 1,500, you have a lot of area to cover, to set dress, and to add vegetation. So keep it smaller if you want to manage your scene a little bit better. Okay? Alright. Great. And that's how you get started. Once you get this, you can start adding your cubes, and you want to do additive, and you want to make sure you have hollow is selected when you're doing buildings, so you can cut out those buildings. Okay, just like we have been doing, and you guys are masters of that now. So that's how you get started. I am not expecting terrain right now. I'm not expecting to create terrain. In fact, I'd rather you didn't. I really want you to focus on the scale, your buildings, and playability. Now I know the terrain will have something to do with that, but let's just get the buildings in there. That's all I'm expecting, and give me screenshots of that. Alright, great.